Thank you for watching the Weeb Club for 1 year. Yay! Why are you still here? Jokes aside, we started this podcast a year ago, and it's been a wild ride. I didn't really expect anybody to watch this, but the fact that you guys are all here shows me that there is no hope for humanity. I mean, shows me that we need to keep going with this. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you for 1 year of the Weeb Club, and on with episode 26.
3, 2, 1. 今夜もミュージック君へのラッキー笑い合って抱き合って幸せにほらなれるように
Psychological warfare.
Yeah, like now, you know what What's doing? You know what you're fucking doing, you son of a bitch? I figured it out. You're making me scared to call you out on things so that you can create your own fucking echo chamber. You motherfucker. You're actually finally assimilating me into the hive mind. That's what you're fucking trying.
Now
He's gaslighting you.
Now I'm confused,
Oh my
actually.
god, he is gaslighting me.
No, actually, I'm confused now. I don't know what's happening.
Oh, he's gaslighting himself now.
Oh my god.
I mean it. I'm so confused
Is this
right now.
what the era of gaslighting is?
I don't even know anymore. I'm so tired. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Weeb Club Backlog. It is I, Gaslight.
It's me, gaslighted.
If this
I'm
motherfucker says
Craftsdwarf.
fine.
Why'd you... Oh my fucking god. I'm actually mauling off the face of the earth
Hey,
right
Vindy,
now.
come here. Vindy, come here.
Yeah.
When are we gonna fucking kick this man out of this fucking podcast?
I don't know. You want to know how he's gaslighting us right now?
How is he fucking gaslighting us?
99 times out of 10, he says the line, me, Craftsdwarf.
Oh,
This
fucking
time he
crazy.
said, I'm Craftsdwarf. And now I'm questioning, did he really used to say me, Craftsdwarf every time? And you know what that is? That's me
That's
being
gaslighting.
That's
You know what else
gaslighting from Craftsdwarf.
You know what else would be gaslighting is changing an NPC's character description to make them love you. Hey guys.
God. But could you imagine being that Chadley and then fondling her tits just because you're a fucking giga
So, what are we watching next time, guys?
So, well, basically, normally the order is Vindy, Craftsdwarf, What the What. However, because chances, like, based on the
Because we're
time...
gaslighters.
Yes.
We're gaslighting
Also, I
ourselves.
looked at, like, when the episodes are going to come out, and I realized that, like, we'll have watched the show before the next season starts, but next season we're probably going to watch Mahoka Season 2 because we're masochists. But I haven't seen it yet, so for the Week Club, we're doing What the What's a long pick next, which is Mahoka, instead of my pick, which is getting put... We're just getting swapped for this round.
And so what we're doing from now on, I guess, is we're putting the long picks in
That's a good idea,
between-
actually.
Like, we're
Yeah.
putting the long picks opposite the Patreon picks. So that,
that's a good idea.
I thought that's what we were doing.
I thought of that as like no, we're doing this because we want Mahoka to come out close to the start of the next season.
Oh, okay.
And I looked at like, oh, wait.
racism and incest.
Well, we should just do it this way anyways, I think.
No, that's a good idea because like that was kind of an issue we were having where it's like because if we just did it in the same order, then we do What's long pick, a patron pick, and then Vindy's long pick, which is why we spaced it out. So
right. And this way we always will be sandwiched between, obviously the patrons sometimes will make us read a manga or something that isn't a long pick, but that way we'll always have, and for those of you, I know some of y'all exist that watch the backlogs along with us, you'll have longer series broken up by shorter series, right? So I think that way just
no more like 40 episodes in a month kind of
right.
thing. Yeah.
So then like the way that like next cycle it would work is I go in this second rotation. So after patron pick, right, next cycle, Crafts picks, and then I pick, and then what?
Yeah, for the long pick, right. Okay. All right. Anyway, Overlord. So what how much of it did you watch before?
I watched the entire season back when it came out.
Because I watched the first episode when it came out, and then I dropped it after the first episode because I didn't like it. So.
Oh. That's very sad. Well, okay, regardless, going back, we're watching Mahoka, and are we also watching the movie? Just because I think...
Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna watch the movie.
Because it's probably gonna be important, so...
Yeah. I can't wait to watch fucking
so
racist,
that'll be the first time you've
incest,
seen the movie, right?
Jesus. I can't wait.
I feel like we should just add the movie into it, because I think the movie...
Well, if it's important, then we might as well,
Yeah.
Right, so...
I think we should.
Racism, incest, Jesus.
Oh, dude, I can't wait to fucking see Misama, my hero, again. I love it.
So have you guys have seen the TV series but not the movie, or both?
I have not seen the movie, but I've seen the TV
but
series.
I've seen the TV series.
Okay, gotcha.
And let me tell you what, the TV series is something fucking else.
It has a goated Lisa opening that makes me very upset.
It does have a phenomenal Lisa opening, and then just fucking the tale of Gun Jesus Nisama. Like, it really activates.
You forgot about the racism one, or xenophobic. I think it's xenophobic.
Yeah, it's more xenophobic than it is racist. But like, I would say that Mahoka is the kind of light novel adaptation that like people claim SAO is, but in the best ways. Like, it's so ridiculous. Like SAO is actually legitimately entertaining because when you if you've seen the show 2 or 3 times, right, and you've ascended when it comes to online, you get enjoyment out of understanding what Reki Kawahara is trying to do. And I want to talk about it because I think it is, I want to talk about SAO with Overlord a little bit for a certain reason, but like, you understand what Reki Kawahara is trying to do. You're just like, God, you're so close, dude, but you're just not getting it. But you're so close because I get it. Because when you see him actually succeed, you understand the character he's trying to make. Mahoka doesn't do that at all. It just wants to make fucking Nisama a fucking, like, actually Gun Jesus. And because
he is unironically Gun Jesus. It's so fucking funny.
It becomes like the most entertaining bullshit you've ever fucking seen in your life. And
Look,
I
listen.
fucking adore it.
Look, listen. I had this show as a 1 out of 10. And I've been rewatching a lot of my 1 out of 10s.
It's about to be a fucking 10, dog.
No, I rewatched it like literally months ago, and it's still a 1. But now it's like, I think it's
the most entertaining one of all time.
It is. That it is.
So it's cross-Ange.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Listen here, you old bitch motherfucker. You piece of shit, you stick motherfucker. I will fucking end your
Triggered
fucking life,
harder
you
than
dumb
Gun
bitch.
Jesus.
I will.
And also, just to mention, this is another light novel. We are watching 2 light novel adaptations done by Madhouse in a row. Because while season 2 of the show is not being done by Madhouse, season 1 is Madhouse.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah.
So
it's driving me
at the
Madhouse.
very least, the show looks good. Like, it does look legitimately good.
I mean, yeah.
Do not fucking deny. Mahoka.
What show are you talking
about?
Mahoka
Mahoka looks good. Overlord does not look good, and we'll get into why. But Mahoka does look good.
Well, Overlord is like, there's aspects to it, like the artwork is
like
fine usually, but it's also kind of blandish at times. Like, it's like there's parts of it that are good, and there are parts of it that are mid and not very good. So overall, it's kind of weak visually, but there's still there's craft there at times. Like, it doesn't look bad. Basically, it doesn't look amazing. It just looks kind of middling, is how I put it.
So Overlord, I think, at this point, I'm going to refer to it as one of the biggest isekai, or most famous isekai.
It's popular, and I just don't understand why.
Oh, I understand why. We'll talk about it, though, but basically, Overlord, if you're going to talk about a wish fulfillment fantasy, there is no show that is the embodiment of the isekai wish fulfillment fantasy than Overlord. And the only other one would be maybe? Gate.
This guy can't have sex, though, so I don't know if that's
true. He's made entirely of a bone.
Okay, is this the Weeb Club where Vindy explains sex?
It was a joke, Vindy? Now, I know you have a hard time telling jokes, Vindy. That was a joke.
Well, I don't know. This show isn't very good wish fulfillment fantasy because it doesn't have any good girls.
Okay,
well now, okay. Hey, Vindy.
Okay, idiot.
Hey, Vindy.
I know that there are no 6-year-olds, and the only lolly-like figure, fucking pads or fucking bra, okay? That does not mean that Albedo and fucking Nabe are not fucking hot. You fucking idiot.
Well, Nabe isn't, and Albedo isn't above the neck.
I'm actually just gonna fucking just leave now.
Okay, you're the one who's like, twin tails make good handlebars, when her 2 fucking horns are right there. Hello?
I'm so fucking...
But her faces are gross.
Oh my fucking god. Oh my fucking...
They're...
I can't take these 2 anymore. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm really tired.
Her outfit's hot, but her face is gross.
Why would you look at a woman's face? What good is there?
I'm gonna go in the fucking voice chat. Just sit here for a bit.
God.
No, I'm just gonna sit here have some fun.
No, but like,
I'm
okay,
gonna-
fuck
I'm
you
gonna
first
sit
of all.
here,
I'll
you
bet
know,
it,
just,
but like, I think it's not just that this is wish fulfillment.
And of course, Vindy likes Nabe, who he just wants to, call
Shut
him
up.
a fucking
Don't
water
fucking
beetle
say
and
that,
step on
okay?
him.
That's
like,
true, but I don't care.
Yeah.
God, you're such a bottom. Jesus
I'm
Christ.
not a bottom.
You're the
Like
bottomest
I said,
bottom on the
like
Weeb
I
Club.
said, like I said, it's more more complicated than that.
But it's not.
No,
It's still
it is.
there.
It is.
It's not wrong.
Because
it's not wrong.
Because I don't want these fucking women to peg me, you fucking idiots. I'm not a goddamn bottom.
Okay, so for anyone who wouldn't know, what the one left for like 15 seconds, they came back and Vinny said, it's not like I wanted to peg me or anything, and then what left again? So the timing was so perfect, but no one else would understand that. Because he didn't say anything. He didn't say a word when he came back in.
I hope he said, like, in his audio, like, I'm gonna join back now, and just hears that and leaves. But, no, like, look, the whole thing is, like, I don't want these fucking, like, I don't want to be pegged, so I'm not a bottom. It's just that, like, what joined again as I said it again. But it's that I want them to beat me up, but I still want to be on top. I just want them to make me be on top. Does that make sense? I want them to force me to be a top. That's what I
kind of get it. Okay.
Okay, either way, whether or not I'm a bottom aside, that doesn't matter. This show is really interesting to me because the entire time I was watching it, I felt like I should have heard it be hated more.
Like, I've heard like very little discussion around the show. I just know it's like it's fairly popular on mallets, and it's like one of the more popular isekai series, like up there with like Re:Zero and Konosuba. Like,
and I feel like this is the kind of show, and this is what so surprised me about that. Is that like I feel like this show has bad CG. Is a light
the CG fucking sucks. I should have mentioned like it ends up kind of middling, but I forgot about the CG, the CG just sucks.
The CG blows fucking cock, right? So it has bad CG, and it's a light novel isekai where the character is insanely overpowered, right? It definitely relies a little bit, like, I don't think it's a stretch to say that Overlord is not preying, but is appealing to the Sword Art Online fan base, right? It's trying to be, like, at least adjacent to that in some ways. And it came out in 2015, when everyone already had this huge Sword Art Online hate boner going. So, like, I don't understand why I never heard more negative discussion of Overlord, because that was my main thought watching this entire show.
That's like, another thing I was about to add. Like,
despised the show.
I was gonna say, compared to like Re:Zero and Konosuba, like those shows have a very clear visual style. They are well written. Overlord, like, I mean, the visuals are fine sometimes, but the writing, like, it's not badly written, but it's like I don't find it nearly as like well written or interesting as like Re:Zero or anything like you know.
No,
so
it has things I liked about the writing.
And there's definitely like there's interesting, like there's an idea specifically that I feel like it's that I've thought about, at least from the premise of the show and like the first episode, and there's stuff that carries through, but it's also like it's season 1 of a 3-season story that's, I'm sure, a still ongoing light novel series. So, you know, I don't know how it's gonna touch on some of the ideas it's messing with later, but it didn't do a whole lot in this season. I don't know. Again, I don't know. It
felt like mostly setup. Like the last.
It also felt like they adapted one book across 13 episodes.
Really? I thought it was super obvious it was 3 books. And
was
looking
it?
at it is 3 books.
Okay, it was just so slow. It was so slow. It could have been 1.
Book 1 ends the episode. The book 1, and I haven't looked this up to make sure, but I would be willing to put money that the end of book 1 is the arc where they're at the village that they go back to in book 2. So the end of book 1 is the village, and then book 2 is everything in that town, and then book 3 is the last arc.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. Again, it felt so slow to me that it's like, well, it could have been 1, and it's just like dragged out to the whole season, you know.
And I have the Mal page up right now, and it says background Overlord adapts the first 3 novels of the light novel series. So that's the thing. It's like, you know, I feel like Konosuba as well is one of those light novel adaptations. You can kind of tell where the books are. right?
Yeah.
You're watching Konosuba and you're like, okay, the end of the first half of season 1 is you know, like into episode 5 is book 1, into episode 10 of season 1 is book 2, fucking end of episode 5, because like it has these climaxes to them, right?
Yes.
And I think that is kind of, I don't want to say necessarily the problem, but I think that is an aspect of like kind of light novel storytelling.
And it definitely affects the structure of the show, because I remember like is this a zombie? Very much felt that, because it's another light novel adaptation, you know. So because Haruhi is an example that's discussed because it has 2 different watch orders, and where the climax of the actual season lands is important, because what if it adapts 2 books and the climax of the first book is bigger in like scale and emotion than the climax of the second book, then like okay, you know, then like it's gonna feel weird because like you got the big stuff in the middle. Like I think, and you know, I don't even disagree, but with like I like No Game No Life, but it kind of like peaks in the middle, like because the middle stuff is so cool and over the top, and like the whole second half is like just one game that's not, it's fine, but it's not as good as some of the earlier stuff. So it just kind of like I like the show, but you know, it has that light novel thing where it's like it seems to peak earlier and then later it's good but not as good, because it's just not a good, or the second novel it adapts isn't as good as the first novel, basically. You know you understand what I mean?
Yeah, no, and again, I think it's like the difference between like something that's like a light, like again, it always comes down to what it's adapting. So when you have a manga adaptation, the problem is almost the inverse, where you have this, what you're adapting is this series that is meant to go for years every week until it ends, you know? And if you have something like Naruto, like if One Piece was done now, for example, right, where the current trend with shonen anime is to
actually do it in seasons, right?
Do it in seasons, right? One Piece would end at the end of every either major arc or minor arc, right?
Yeah, and it, like East Blue would probably, you know, or I don't know. I haven't thought about it before, but yeah, I can see how it would be. Like, it'd still have longer ones because, like, you know, I mean, maybe Dressrosa would be split into like, you know, 2 or 4, you know, individual like seasons, you know.
But yeah, like that's how that would be done, but how Haikyuu's done, but that's still not ideal for these series, because then you're having to stretch or shorten like arc lengths to fit into this 12 or 25 episode format.
Which can or can't work depending on, you know, like what they're adapting and how.
And with light novels, it's you have, and like because it's a novel, it has to have an end. You have to have an end to your book.
Right.
So because it ends, like if you're paying attention, you can be like, oh yeah, okay, that's where a conflict ends. That's where a book would have ended. This is where the next book ended, right? And so because of that, I definitely feel like with light novel adaptations, you have like the inverse of manga adaptations, where now we're adapting a bunch of mini stories that create a larger story, and you can tell when that happens, as opposed to what you get with manga adaptations.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have to say about that?
So I think it might become clear throughout the course of this backlog episode that I have the most positive opinion of Overlord.
Which is what was the score you gave it before when you finished it?
So when I first finished it, it was an 8. Then after like rescoring my things and I was being a dumb shit, I gave it a 3. And because I realized that I didn't care about anything about it back then, because ultimately I was watching it because haha, funny fight, cool, and it was a seasonal. And then now I rewatched it, and so when I made my isekai video, I did a lot of research in regards to like other like things regarding like why isekai stories are structured the way they are. And in my isekai video, I brought up the topic of like how isekai stories start their characters off overpowered inherently as a way to work their way around the typical Motatakai style story, and instead address a conflict that's internal rather than external, which is like which again you'll find more like people like Joe arguing in his like isekai series and like whenever discussing things like that, because Overlord is a show that he talks about a lot, because in particular Overlord is the embodiment of the kind of story that deals with a lot of like themes of like the idea of abandoning Motatakai entirely for the sake of addressing something that he physically, like, usually it's connection, usually it's communication, and in like with ReZero we see that with the theme of like with Subaru's inability to communicate his issues. Sword Art Online where like Kirito like avoids like like opening up his like how he like opening up to people, and in Overlord in particular, it's actually, I found it pretty interesting the way they went about like this conflict that he has, because he's overpowered in the sense that like he's
not challenged by anything really ever in this.
He's
not challenged physically.
Well, he's not challenged. Well, there's Ainz Olgon, which is just like the remnants of his guild that has all these NPCs. They're all god the player characters are basically like god level. And the NPCs of which are also like far stronger. Like there's like, oh, I'm one of the strongest people in the world. Look, and then someone challenges him with like, I've got this magic item that can do a 7th-tier spell, and then Ainz is like, yeah, I can do 10th tier spells and like special tier spells, and there's also world tier items that are even stronger. So it's like he's on like fucking 12th tier, like, and like 5th tier is the most that a normal human could cast, like a hero specifically, like. He's just naturally like so far like he nerfs himself as an adventurer, and he still like easily makes like the highest rank of like god tier, like it would basically be like a G rank master rank hunter easily, like just on accident more or less, just jumped immediately to that because of how fucking big his bone skeleton dick is.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, no, he's definitely got fucking like a Latreon armor.
right, and I kept thinking of course I kept thinking about One Punch Man.
Glass?
No, I dropped my water bottle.
Oh, okay.
But I did keep thinking about One Punch Man is a very like easy example of just like how strong. Like there was the one. I guess let's get into spoilers, and we're not into spoilers yet. But there's like all these strong characters who think they're hot shit, and then they encounter someone from Ainz's group, and suddenly they aren't hot shit anymore.
Right.
So, and how they respond to that, and that kind of that aspect of the show definitely reminded me of One Punch Man, because that's very much what it is about. Is okay, the guy who's the strongest, and how do people respond when they find someone who's just that much stronger than them?
Well, there's also like the difference is that One Punch Man is very much a story that deals with the inherent topic of strength. Like it's like it inherently makes like Saitama this character who can't relate to anybody. Or like seeing like you're like he can't find enjoyment in what he does because he's so strong, and like brings these people around him because like he causes like a change in them and they admire him and stuff like that, and he's able to connect with them where otherwise they wouldn't, like otherwise anyone else wouldn't, because like they're like isolated. But like the way Overlord goes about it is interesting because it's more so like he not only is he the strongest person in this world, and this is revealed in like episode 1, so it's not technically a spoiler, he was basically the only one who still clung to this game Yggdrasil. He's like, yes, he's the only one who still clung to it, and throughout the entire story you get this, he keeps bringing up the fact that Ainz Olgul, their guild was the strongest in the entire game, based off of all of their efforts and all of their hard work. So this is at this point where like all of the Multatakai has been taken out of the way, and he's the only one who still cared enough to hold on to everything, because like one of their main requirements for the guild that they had for their guild was that like they all had to be functioning members of society, and all of them
and also have the non-human avatars. Well, because I guess I don't know if this is where you're going with it, but one interesting thing I thought of more or less just this conversation was how like that Tatakai they put in was for a game, but now he has this god tier power up against people who are putting in that effort as human beings, risking their actual lives in like mortal combat.
And there's an interesting thing they add into it is the fact that like he keeps bringing up the fact that like, oh, I don't feel anything by seeing this. Maybe it's because I'm an undead. Or there's like the fact that he's pretending that...
Yeah, it's like... And he also has like the emotion muting spell that triggers sometimes when he gets like heated or whatever. But so like, there's like systems in place that are keeping... Well, what I saw it is like, because he's compared to gods, he's a creator, he's made beings. And so it's also like, well, this is how a god would likely see mortals, is he's just so far above them. And of course it also works like he's a player and they're NPCs. Like, he just doesn't like, he doesn't care, because like that's just normally how a player or a god would see things, because he's just literally on a higher plane of existence than these people, everyone else in the world, basically. So,
and it's like the fact that the entire story is essentially just him like really fucking up ways to like try to connect with people or like try to connect, because the entire idea is that he's the only one left from Yggdrasil that he knows of. So
and he's trying to find more people by spreading the name of his famous guild across and trying to again connect.
And his people hate humans. They hate people, and like they're like, let's fucking kill them all and take over the world, and that's all they're concerned with. So it's like,
well, this was a thought I had. It was in one of Joe's videos, Pause and Select videos, where he talked about again the power thing, because Ainz has a huge amount of power as this, like, again, this godly being, but his subordinates have a kind of power over him because he has to play the character of the Overlord. Like, he can't, like, the identity is kind of about, because there's Momonga, who's the real person, who's kind of just a nerd who's really attached to this video game and doesn't want to let it go. But then to his subordinates, he has to be Ainz. He has to be this Overlord. And yeah, he's a kind one, but he has to be, there's things expected of a leader, but then he's also Momon the adventurer. So it's like, he's got these different characters.
What I think is interesting is this idea that the world and whatever the fuck is, because obviously what happens is, right, what happened, and I'm sure there's a couple, is everyone who was in the game at the time and all the NPCs were, and I think this was touched on, actually, in a moment in the series where people were talking about how seiyus give a soul to a character.
Mm-hmm.
Is like the soul inside all these objects was transported to another world or whatever the fuck, right? Through their want to stay in this world with these people, right? Because that's a large part of it, is that, like, he feels bad because the game he had this community on is shutting down, and so now... And it's even that, like, he doesn't miss his life in real life, right? As a salaryman or whatever he was. He misses his life as an adventurer with a party. He misses the life he used to have in the game, and it was that life that made him want to spend the game's final moments in it.
Well, that goes into another thing Pause and Select talks about, is the transference and how that aspect is pretty important to thematically setting up what an isekai is doing. And this is kind of what I was saying earlier about how, like, the idea that interests me the most in the series, and that is kind of like the sort of transience of the experience of these sort of MMOs, where it's like, I think it was like Final Fantasy XI that ended with a meteor strike. Like, if you were on the game when it ended, like, it was framed as like a meteor comes down and ends the world, basically. Like... So because all these MMOs are these experiences that, like, aside from the occasional, like, RuneScape or WoW or the World of Warcraft, where they have these, legacy servers, you can't archive them the same way you can other games or art or anything like that.
Right.
So, and, so he has this longing for something that, like, even, like, playing MMOs in the early 2000s or even the mid 2000s compared to now is very different. So, right. Like, and so he has an understandable longing for that. But but now he's transferred to this isekai because of that longing. Because again, he was the only one that we know of, and so we can assume that the only other people who are going to be there feel the same way as him, where they just cared so deeply about this game that they were there in its last moments.
And what I think is interesting is, on top of that, is like this idea that, like, his like what he had in people, right? Are now turning into these NPCs, and, like, these NPCs are filling that void. Obviously, the difference is they expect things of him, and
they view him as above them rather than being alongside him.
And I want to see that change, and I expect that will change as we see the story go. I would be surprised if it didn't go that direction. I really would, because I think there's I don't know, like, I just feel like that's, like, the obvious point that it's trying to make eventually, right? Is that, like, he's finding these connections, and that's what, we'll get more into it with spoilers, but he's finding these connections with the people at, what is it? I don't even want to try to pronounce it.
They got some weird fucking fantasy names that I'm not
Nazareth, whatever, Nazareth?
Yeah, Nazareth.
The people in Nazareth with him.
It was Nazareth, I think.
Yeah, whatever the fuck it is. The people there with him, like, are going to become that party that he feels this longing for, because, like, you can already see that, like, he's starting to have, like, there was one scene in particular that really showed that, where he was still trying to treat them like NPCs, and one character that Craftsdwarf for some reason hates because he's stupid and stinky and a dumbass, kind of like changed his mind a little bit about it, you know? And I loved another thing he said, but that all we'll get into spoilers. What I was going to mention earlier is this idea that you see where, like, the world is forcing him to act a certain way, right? When his emotions get too high, whatever brought him to this world is forcing him to calm down and act the part of an undead. You know, he mentioned, like, his libido is gone, and there are moments where he gets, like, embarrassed, and it actively calms him down and stops him from being like that. And I would love to see at some point in this series, in the next 2 seasons or after that, him kind of break past that, or break outside of that, I guess, and move past someone who is constantly getting embarrassed over things.
And it sounds like we should move into spoilers because
a lot of
we've talked quite a bit already, and like, well, because I do think there's some interesting stuff, especially in like the construction of the series. But spoilers will allow us to go into more specifics, I think.
Right.
It's like video. So, all right, spoilers.
Spoilers.
Good opening, by the way. Great opening.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna mute what the what.
Okay, well, unlucky, I think.
Also, speaking of openings, why is this God of High School character in the show?
Well,
so now we're ending the podcast. Thank you guys for watching. We're ending the podcast now.
Tell me that's not the first thing you guys thought.
It's not really, because I try not to think about it. I try not to think about it.
No, it wasn't.
Sad that I'm funnier than you guys.
Is that what you think that is? Is that what you think that is?
Craftsdwarf watches fucking Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and goes,
God of High School.
Is that a God of High School reference?
Craftsdwarf gets sick, like has like a cold, and then goes in the mirror and says, "Am I God of High School?"
Craftsdwarf fucking sees
Korean art styles, yo.
Goes, is this a God of High School reference?
Are you God of High School?
Shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up! Holy shit! Your laugh is the worst thing on planet fucking Earth. Holy
Don't
shit!
Don't be mean to Craftsdwarf's fucking seal laugh. It inspires me. It gives me hope.
It inspires me to never have a shittier laugh than that.
Shut up. You're so toxic to my sweet fucking Crafts. Shut up. Don't be
one
mean to Craftsdwarf.
One reason why I believe that Overlord is adapted the way it is because, like, it's extremely information heavy. Like, and I know that every single piece of information that it talks about is important for the sake of telling the story. Right. And, like, it's so dense. Like, there's so much, like, that they have to say in order for you to, like, understand. Because it's, like, it's very much this story of world conquest. And it's, like, there's a lot of, like, details he has to go to. 90% of the show is just information gathering about this world. And him realizing what he knows and doesn't know. Because it all eventually becomes important for the sake of,
that's
like...
what this season's about, right? Is him trying to understand what happened to him. So I don't mind any of the exposition because, I understand that it is all... Like... It's one of those situations where we are learning this as well as the characters. So I don't even think that is a problem.
Well, and that's also... Well, because, like, also, how does he beat Shelter in the end? Information. Knowledge. And part of the reason...
No, he beats it through microtransactions, okay?
Okay, also pay to... Like, yeah, the real the real Overlord is pay-to-win players. That's true.
That's epic. Kind of based.
He beats her through his fucking deep ass pockets, dude.
But anyway, no, I was gonna say like, but he also knew her like abilities. Like he said, like, oh, I know you the best after perfect or actor or whoever the one he made was. But no, well, that's also part of why I was thinking about. I mentioned earlier the sort of archival and like the fact that like we, you know, these experiences that don't exist anymore, and which because information he becomes Momon for information. That's a big part of why he's able to defeat Shaltir. Like information is a huge part of the story and like what he's doing, and that's so that's just another sort of idea that's tied into what I was thinking about with the MMO art experience. And again, we could also tie this to the NPCs at Nazarick, where they're the memories of his friends, like they're the things that they created, and well, and so like, and he sees part of like there's the one like I think it was Mare and Shal, the two of them were arguing, and he's like, oh, it reminds me of how those two of my friends would argue, like because they're echoes of those original players. Right. So and that's why why he went to fight Shaltir at the end is because he doesn't want to see them fighting, and he wants to preserve them because, again, that's why he was here, because he deeply loves this game and the memories he had in it. And so, like, of course, he's literally going to defend the memories of those friends as much as he can.
Like, there's some scenes in this show that are just straight fucked. Like, they're just straight fucked. Like, when he's hanging out with that guild the entire time, and he's like, they're like trying to open up, they're trying to get him to open up, they're trying to learn.
Fucking love, by the way.
Look, it's so fucked the way this, like, what happens to them, because it's like he's making friends with them, he's learning about their backstories, and we learn all about them on purpose, and then they just fucking die. Like,
I mean, I saw that shit coming.
because like he has all the fucking like all the ways to heal them, but like he just sees them and he's like, well, like all he says is like he's displeased with the outcome, and he tries to justify it with like, oh, like there's a lot of moments when you watch this and you're like, he's acting like he's real. He's like, you can kind of see that it's almost like he's sort of lying to himself, because he's like, oh, see, I'm displeased. I only like they were insignificant to me because they were like, yeah, I'm just built different. Like they were just using them for information or whatever. But like you can tell that like he's like actually kind of pissed deep down. He's like he's gonna fucking kill you just because like you did something to like hurt him, you know? And it's like he's constantly fighting that throughout the entire show, and it's interesting, right? Because while he's like trying to talk to his like subordinates about, you guys gotta have fucking like empathy for these humans that you guys see as bugs, he himself is still like viewing the entire world as like a game. So it's interesting to think about.
Well, he's like in this crossroads, right, where he's in between viewing it as a game and viewing it as like not a game. And that's why I wanted to go back really quickly on two things Craftsdwarf said. Which is one, he's talking about how like he sees them as echoes of his previous guild members, and that's why I love the moment where he says that like he loves all the NPCs because they were made by his previous friends, and because
except the one he made, who's just cringy and he wants to die.
Craftsdwarf, like NPC like that.
Probably.
That shit was funny, but
no, that was because he's like starts speaking German. He's like, no, stop, no it. German.
You're gonna get canceled. What are you gonna start? You're gonna get canceled. You know, you might go to art school.
That was funny.
Yeah, so that's one thing, right? But I think the other thing is again, like when he went to be an adventurer in the guild, his name was Momon, which is similar to Momonga because his life as an adventurer is a parallel to his life from being in the MMO, but he changes his name as the Overlord to Ainz because he's trying to get the name out to see if there's anyone else like him.
Well, because he's the last living memory of all of them.
Right, combined. He's also the last living memory, and he wants that memory to live on, and so there are all these reasons. But like, there's two sides of him now, right? And I think that's a cool and interesting idea.
It's interesting, like, when he's hanging out with that guild, that when they talk about him, they're like, that's the way a man acts when he's lost all of his comrades in battle. And, like, the way he acts as if they're dead. Like, when he starts talking about them, he acts as if they're just straight up dead. Like, they're gone, they're never going to be there. Because
as far as he knows, he's not going to go back. And then as of the end of the series, we saw he's not going to the real world. He's done. You know, like, he's stuck there because he made the promise to fucking Albeda.
Oh my god. Grooming?
Shut up.
Grooming? Gaslighting? Altering the source code? And I'll tell you, I can tell you why people are easier on Overlord than they are on Sword Art Online. And it's pretty simple, right? Sword Art Online doesn't concern itself with, like, the structure of games and shit. Like, it uses it as a medium and then just kind of just moves the fuck on because it wants to tell a story.
Well, and also, like, because you know, you just made me think of, you know, Mother's Basement's video, like, SAO would be a bad video game. But where, like, Overlord, it's very clear, like, oh, you know what, this doesn't actually, oh, these are differences. Like, things have changed. It's not the game. It's not like Log Horizon where, yeah, he's in this world that has the same mechanics as the game. Like, it kind of does. There's similarities, but there's also differences, and he's trying to learn those differences.
Can I tell you what it is? Because it's literally just people think Overlord is smarter. and therefore they like it because it has a lot of words and like it has a lot of quote unquote intricacies. So they're like, haha, Overlord's smarter than Sword Art Online. So even though it's a wish fulfillment story, it's still smarter.
I would say that this one season of Overlord it is better written than the first season of SAO.
Which again, like you're comparing like a story made by a high schooler, like rushed for a contest and revised to a, presumably he had more time with this one and it wasn't for a contest. Like he was able to like construct it,
Well, like ultimately it's kind of funny though, because like Sword Art Online is a story very much rooted in the emotional aspect of the situation, rather than Overlord, which focuses very much on like the technical aspects a lot of the time in order to have that like emotional core underneath. So it's like one of them's just going full force with like the actual like emotion of like what it would be like being trapped in a game, versus Overlord, which again mirroring the main character, he's disconnected emotionally at a certain point, and like is very calculating and very like logical, and a lot of like his there's like maybe 20 times where he's actually acting out on emotions and shit in this show.
And like most of those times he gets the aura of the spell that just like keeps him in check.
Yeah.
So
like one time he got horny and he's like they had the spell like
Yeah, and fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say. It was something about and that's really like one of Momonga's big like moments throughout the series is like when he realized like, no, this is my fault. I didn't think about all the possibilities, right? Because like his issue that he has with himself was that he wasn't a good enough leader. He wasn't calculating enough. He wasn't. He was too emotional. He wasn't thinking of all the possibilities because he didn't have that information.
Yeah, it's like he's at odds with his own humanity. That it's which is why like it's important that he interacts with the humans and stuff like that, because he has to retain that humanity inside of him. And why like a big deal with the fucking floor guardians is that they all hate humans because they see themselves as above them, which is interesting. It's kind of cool, kind of based. Hamusuke, Vindy is in this show.
Second I saw this motherfucker's fucking rodent fucking mouth, I was like, oh, I can't wait for someone to say I'm in this show. Haha.
Man, hey, wise guardian of the forest. What was funny about that shit was that like these humans are like actually just so like they don't know what real power is, so they just see Hamusuke and they're like, holy shit, what a wise, cool guy. What a fucking.
Well, and then Ainz sees him and he's just like, oh, a pet.
And he was
like the equivalent of a level 80 mount in World of Warcraft.
Did you see him like hitting the ground with his sword? He's like a fucking.
He's so he wanted to because he does he was looking for something more and he didn't get it.
And then he like goes to them, he's like, yeah, it's the hamster, and they're like, holy shit, what a cool guy. And he's like, oh my fucking god.
Oh, and I guess just to be clear on something I said earlier when I was talking about the power and stuff, I was talking about like the swordsman guy who's like, I came up with these techniques to beat the other swordsman guy, and then he fights Shaltir and she just like makes him run away and piss his pants basically.
Shaltir, hot by the way.
Vindy likes Shaltir when she's in her fucking manic form.
I like Shaltir. No,
with their leech mouth.
Yeah, he loves that shit.
Dude,
he loes that shit.
Do you
He wants to feel.
God, imagine that leech mouth around my dick.
He wants to feel those individual teeth caressing his fucking cock and dick.
Do you want to know how mad I was when I was fucking watching this show and Shaltir went to her manic for her, and I was like, what the fuck did they do to her?
No, you were like,
I was
yes, please,
hurt
yes,
on the inside
please, me Vindy,
hot,
me Vindy, me like
girl was ruined.
Me Vindy, me like,
I
me think it hot.
So
Me Vindy, me want to feel her lamprey mouth around my cock and dick.
I mean, that was in the OP, so it's on you, Vindy.
Yeah, it's on you, Vindy.
Fuck you.
She looked like the typical like Craftsdwarf subscriber. Like I don't know.
She's hot before. She's hot when she's not in her manic mode. Okay.
Before she was the typical subscriber.
She's not as hot. Okay, well, we still need to talk about the best goddamn character in this series, actually.
Albedo? Gaslighting?
No. My hero Coicutus.
I mean,
if you don't remember who he is, he has one good moment in the entire series. It's in episode 2.
Yeah, he's
and
like,
it's when
he wants
it's
these
when
shipping.
Shaltir,
he wants.
It's when Shaltir and Albedo are talking about how they're gonna have Momonga's kid, and they mention, but you can be an uncle. And this big fucking whatever the fuck praying mantis monster, whatever the fuck he is,
big bug. He's
right. He's like, walking around like, I gotta be an uncle. I gotta be an uncle. And that's like the only fucking good moment that this guy has. But I fucking stan it, okay?
Hey, Crafts, did you know that all young men must wear girl clothes?
Well, the creator was a degenerate, and he's like, haha, I'm gonna make the little boy elf wear the girl clothes, and I'm gonna make the little girl elf wear the guy clothes.
Wasn't the creator... Oh, wait, no. Who was the voice actress? That was... Wasn't it... It was the voice actress who made the 2 L's, so it was her.
The Arrow game voice actress.
Yeah. God, remember when they were having the flashback, and the one guy was like, yeah, I wanted to buy this Arrow game, but she voiced one of the characters, so it's weird.
And Ainz is like, damn.
No, that is Chadley. Okay, I respect. No. Let me explain. I respect not being able to buy an Arrow game because your sister.
Okay, I was about to fucking say.
The degenerate play is, dude. I fucking beat off
the Lunaxor play. The Lunaxor play.
Yes.
Man, if I hear that man talk about incest one more fucking time, I'm going to lose a fucking brain cell.
Dude. Okay. What? You agree with me, right? Oh
my fucking god!
I have to approve a comment. I just checked my approved comments, and somebody commented "fuck Rock Lee" on the played stream.
Based.
So I have to approve it.
Hard work beats talent.
Someone also commented on my videos and said "quit being an alcoholic." So I feel like I have to approve that one as well. No. Okay, I'm sorry. So fuck. What was the thing you said right before?
Oh my fucking god, we're talking about how incest.
The Arrow game voice actress, incest.
Oh, yeah, no, look, Luna's a fucking dumbass, because you would agree, right? That the appeal of, like, step-sibling porn is that it's someone who wants to fuck you that is in close vicinity and lives in your house, as opposed to the blood relation, like some kind of fucking weirdo.
Imagine being turned on by the blood relation.
Right, like, the hot part is that it's a hot girl in your home who wants to have sex with you all the time, no strings attached, right?
Hey, Craftsdwarf. We're gonna.
Yeah.
Let's have a
Am
conversation.
I wrong?
Let's have a conversation. This is really.
Craftsdwarf, am I wrong? Craftsdwarf, am I wrong?
What's up? What?
Tell me that I'm wrong, right?
I just don't care about incest at all. Go on. What?
It's not incest when there's no blood relation.
I don't care.
Isn't it interesting, right? That Demiurge is at first the entire time, like when he flies up with him, and he's like, he hears like Ainz just sitting there looking at this guy. He's like, yeah. Maybe I was brought here to obtain this box of treasures. And he says it like, like a nice little thing, poetic thing. And he said, and then he looks down at the ground. He's like, it'd be pretty cool, I guess, to conquer the world. And then fucking Albedo fucking says, Demiurge, repeat what the fucking Lord Ainz said. He's like, we're gonna take over the fucking world, boys. Let's fucking go. And they're like, let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. And they're all losing their shit. Meanwhile, Ainz is just like, I mean, that'd be pretty nice, I want to get my name out there, pretty nice. Like, constantly, they're all just misunderstanding his fucking intent all the time. It's fucking great. Like, their misconceptions about everything, like, their owner, their creator said is so fucking funny.
There's nothing wrong with saying, I don't like incest. There's nothing wrong with that.
I guess we mentioned voice. I think.
So, if anything, they're the weirdos.
Clementine, or they say Clementine in the show, but it's like, it's spelled, I don't understand.
Vindy.
Clementine's hot as fuck.
Yeah, that's
well.
Yeah,
I was gonna say.
I
also Aoki or Aoki. I mixed up the name. Aoyuki voiced her, cutie. And like that's not I remember that like before I didn't watch the show, but I saw that like a clip and I was like, oh, that's interesting that this because it's out of type for her, and so Clementine's a very unique voice for Aoyuki in my experience. So
yeah.
What?
Yeah.
So yeah, I just it was neat to see her do a role that she normally does, and I like that because like Hanakana always has all these sleepy voice characters, and I'm kind of bored of those performances, frankly speaking.
Yeah, you want them wide awake as you're fucking them. What?
So if she
¿Por qué?
But I don't have much more to say on the show,
I'm speaking
honestly.
Spanish, okay, not Japanese, you racist fuck. I said por qué.
Nandato.
No. Por qué?
Kusai.
Por qué?
Kuso baka.
Tú es estúpido.
Viva la México.
No, fuck.
That was a fucking Hajime no Ippo reference. That was a Hajime no Ippo reference.
It's estás estúpido.
That was a fucking Hajime no Ippo reference.
Verb wrong. Okay?
That was a fucking Hajime no Ippo reference that I just made and you didn't like. Viva el Tigre. But anyway.
I don't care. Because I fucking couldn't speak the language of my people correctly, and I'm fucking mauling about it, okay? That's what I care more about.
Kokujin. Anyway, so, like, fucking
basic conjugation.
Albedo has a fucking Ainz body pillow. And she was like,
I know when I wrote that, when I saw that, hold on, what did I write when I saw that?
She's like, I'm going to make his entire bed filled with my scent. And then like Demiurge is like, he doesn't sleep, right? Yeah, okay.
I wrote, Ainz Dakimakura, this is the best show ever.
Oh, okay. Craftsdwarf gets turned on by a pile of bones just like him. It was
pretty funny.
That's, you know what? Craftsdwarf relates fucking hard to that shit. He sees another skeleton on a body pillow. He goes like, "Yes, I wish that was fucking me. I wish that was me, boys." Relatable.
I mean, skeletons are pretty gender neutral, all things considered.
Oh my fucking god.
Shut the fuck.
Oh my fucking god. Oh my fucking god.
I'm so funny.
No, you're really not. You make me sad. You both make me sad. I'm just sad all the time.
No, you're not. Shut up. You, every fucking Thursday, I know for a fact, you wake up and you jump out of bed and you're like, oh boy, can't wait to record the Weeb Club. Because you know that coming and sitting in here with a Discord call with us for fucking 1 to 2
You guys have had this exact conversation a dozen times.
Gives you fucking happiness and you like being in here. So every fucking Thursday you're excited and then you go, oh, I hate it here. When we all fucking know. The commenters know. I know. Crafts knows. You know that you like being here and you enjoy it. So shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Final thoughts?
Final thoughts. So I gave the show a 5.
Like the children that he likes. Let's go.
Well, no, I just love that, like, we've been talking about how interesting this show is and how, like, the cool stuff it does. And then Crafts goes,
we didn't even talk about how the one chick with the stabby sword.
I also think, like, after, the setup, like, it doesn't do as much with the interesting stuff as it could have. In my but obviously it's an ongoing show. Maybe I'll attach to.
Are you excited to watch the next 2 seasons?
I'm that's why it's a 5 and not like a 4, because I wasn't really like, I was a little bored at the start, but like I was never uninterested, I guess, on some level. Even if like there's nothing to emotionally grab me, there's nothing like I loved about it or even like exceptionally liked about it. It's just like, the show, I was like, oh, that was neat. Like, I just never had a strong reaction to anything. Like you guys were like, oh no, those guys. I was like, well, I don't really care about those guys. And then they died, and it's like, well, I still don't really care. Like, they're fine.
Craftsdwarf is fucking Ainz and Ooal. That's why he's fucking like, he's emotionally numb to everything. Fucking piece of shit. Oh my god.
I don't know, you guys. Vindy, it's your turn, because I know you forgot.
Yeah, I fucking know.
You haven't forgotten in a while. I just thought it was funny.
I haven't forgotten. Yeah.
Fucking
did I forget the first 6 months of the Weeb Club? Yes. Are we at a point now where I know my fucking order?
No.
Yes. You fucking.
No.
I didn't know if you were done with your fucking final thoughts. I know I go after Craftsdwarf, okay? Because it's
now
fucking
he's doing his
order.
shitty laugh again. We got him doing his shitty laugh again now. Now we gotta hear this.
I gave the show a 7. I thought it was enjoyable.
Oh.
There were things I liked. I didn't think it was perfect. It has kind of ass ugly CG. But ultimately,
It's got some ass though in it though.
It does have some ass. It's got some titties. It's got some hot fucking ladies.
Vindy really likes the one that turns into a lamprey.
I mean, he does.
He does.
Like, objectively, just not. No. Okay.
Yeah, baby.
Don't say yeah, baby, like you're some kind of fucking
baby, yeah.
Austin Powers. Stop. I liked the show. It's a 7. It was enjoyable. I'm really excited to see the next 2 seasons because I think that if seasons 2 and 3 really capitalize on what I liked about season 1 and like continue to be good, I think Overlord could be something really, really good that I really enjoy. We have to see if it continues that idea or if it goes somewhere else, but I'm hopeful that it continues that idea as we at some point watch seasons 2 and 3.
And he really likes the one with the lamp.
Shut the fuck
Every
up
single
what the
individual
what.
too.
Vindy not even my favorite girl. If you ask,
Sliding up and
Vindy,
down.
who's your favorite?
Give us your
fucking
final
girl?
thoughts,
I would
Stinky.
say it's fucking Albedo because I'm smart. But you're over here. Oh, he looks.
Hey guys, so I gave Overlord a 7 out of 10. It's a pretty good show. The only reason it's not an 8 is because it's fucking ugly sometimes. Like, and honestly, you know, yeah, and also because there's no lollies.
There's literally one in the show.
She's
There's literally one in the show.
does she count though?
Yes.
Does she count though? Where are the scans? Show me the scans.
Okay, thank you for
Please
listening
concede
to
to
this
this
episode of
argument.
Weeb Club.
Concede this argument.
Concede this argument, Vinny.
Shut
Exactly.
the
Easy clap.
fuck
Easy clap. I
up.
win, you lose.
Shut up.
So anyway, guys,
Shut up.
here's something I
Shut
gotta
up.
say, right?
Shut up.
I found it very strange this episode, right? That Vindy was talking about the appeal of step sibling porn. And you know,
I don't want to hear what you have to
made
say.
me fucking scared for my life. And then Craftsdwarf was like, me empathize with skeleton Dakimakura. And I was like, well, you know, life is just be like that sometimes, you know? It just really do be like that. And I regret
How
life.
are you just the worst person?
You can't prove that. Show me the scans. Exactly, you can't. Concede this
Shut
argument.
the fuck up! What?
Concede this
Shut
argument.
Up.
Concede
Shut the
this
fuck up!
argument.
Holy
Concede this
shit!
argument.
Shut up,
Concede
you
this
dumb,
argument.
you
Concede
dumb
this-
motherfucker! You stupid toxic! Oh my god! Shut up! What? Anyway, thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.
He's gaslighting me. Holy shit.
He's not gaslighting you. It's not gaslighting when it's true.
Well, you know that's not true. It's still gaslighting even if it is true. Anyway, I ended the recording.
No, that's not. You're gaslighting me. If it is true, it is not gaslighting.